What's this? We're back? After Hours? It can't get much better. This is Geek Like After Hours. I'm Dean DeFalco. With me is Dan Bryan and Chris Randazzo, and we're going to get started right now. Okay, guys, so what's up tonight? Is there anything? I guess nothing's up at all. We're just did we have too much to drink already or something? That was a bit odd. I asked what's up and no responses. It's all right. You want to just cut and go to bed? It's okay. It's no big deal.
I'm only half a beer in tonight. Oh, sorry. Okay. So it's a really, really good beer though.
Is it? Yeah,
it's this Real Ale, which is a company out here in Texas, and it is their version of a Hefeweizen, which is a German wheat beer that is unfiltered and really, really good. Like, it's just awesome. I'm a big fan.
Are you a beer connoisseur?
Oh my God, I'm trying to be. I'm working on it. I'm trying to be as snobby as possible, but
wonderful. I mean, the snobbier, the better. That's what happens at Geek Life After Hours. We're not allowed to talk either.
I thoroughly hate you. I mean, at least 18% more since you started talking. So good work, Dan. Good work.
I'm here for you, Chris. That is.
Anyway,
this is the uncensored version. I'm excited.
Of course.
Good.
So the other thing we were going to bring up is, I guess, let's get business out of the way first. We opened up our mailbag, and there was actually a piece of mail in there.
Ooh, can I read it?
Yeah, you could totally read it. Do you have it?
I do.
Okay, why don't you go and read it?
Sharko says, "First, let me say, great first show. I really look forward to what you have in store. When it comes to a child's first game, I'm torn between Donkey Kong and the original Super Mario Bros. I vividly remember playing both games when I was 3 or 4 years old. I agree that stimulating a child's imagination is important, like Chris mentioned. The real question, in my opinion, is what age should video games be introduced to children? Sure, you could show a 3-year-old Angry Birds, but would they remember and or appreciate it? Would it have the same impact as playing Mega Man 2 when they were 7, like it did with me? Many questions indeed. Keep up the fine work, gentlemen."
Aww.
Well, first I'd like to say thank you, Sharko, for not only listening but sending in a response to our first podcast. And I would love to encourage anybody else listening to do the same, because we love answering questions.
We totally love answering questions.
Speaking of which, Dan, I believe you have children that are old enough to play video games. What is your take on this?
I certainly do have children that are old enough to play video games, and they are actually really big gamers, and it happened sort of by accident. My wife and I, we had this conversation of what is the kid, the important conversations that you have as a parent, and just, I suppose, in the interest of full disclosure, I have twins. Depending on when you listen to this, they are about to turn 5 or are already 5. Their birthday is at the end of this month. So, we had the important discussions before the children were born of what order do we show them Star Wars in? Do we show them 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3? Do we show them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Do we show them 4, 5, 6 and forget that 1, 2, and 3 even exist? Even though I sort of like episode 3, but neither here nor there. These sorts of big, deep, philosophical, geeky questions, right? And one of them.
You will have to answer that question, by the way. I really want to know.
No, it's my stance on it, and my wife's stance as well, which is why we have such a strong partnership and are so very much in love, is that it's 4, 5, 6, and then yes, they do see 1, 2, 3, for the sake of completion. I'm very excited about these possibilities that exist with 7, 8, and 9, but definitely 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. I think is the only way to go.
First off, I agree with you. Second off, how awesome is it that we are going to have children when new Star Wars movies are coming into theaters?
It's so cool. That's so awesome. Excited about it.
My kid will be old enough to see probably the third one in theaters, and that's super exciting to me.
No, that's just it's awesome, and because we already watch the Clone Wars, and they love it. They know what Star Wars is, and this kind of ties it back to the question that Sharko asked was, we had the discussion of what is the girl's first game going to be. And, my choices were Mega Man or, old Nintendo stuff that I loved as a kid. Maybe we'll get them to play Metroid because I have girls and Samus is a badass girl. And, we'll show them that girls can be super badass right from the, the beginning of their game playing. And it kind of just happened. We were out at a restaurant one night, and this was when my kids were about 2.5 or 3 years old, and they were being monster pains in the butt, as twins or just children that are 2.5 have a tendency to be. And we gave them our phones to just kind of look at pretty pictures on a screen. And next thing you know, the kids are playing Angry Birds, and they're not even 3 years old yet. And I thought it was kind of funny that was exactly the game that Sharko mentioned, because they picked it up intuitively. They knew exactly what to do. They tapped their fingers on the screen for a couple seconds, and next thing you know, they're completing levels, which just blew my mind. Just absolutely fascinating to me. And you fast forward a little bit, Star Wars Angry Birds comes out, and now they love Star Wars. We're driving around in the car, and my daughter starts singing the theme song to Star Wars. She just starts humming the theme. And I look back at her, and I was, what are you doing? She's like, Daddy, it's Star Wars from Star Wars Angry Birds. I was like, that is bananas. That's so crazy. And, her next question, can we listen to the song? Of course we can listen to the song. John Williams' Pandora, what do you got for me? And we're driving around with, the drop top down and the window, whatever. Stupid rap lyrics.
Did you have the hydraulics going too while you're at it?
We're totally bumping down the street, rocking John Williams on Pandora. And it was amazing, and totally by accident. Completely and totally by accident. So now we bought our children Kindle Fires, and they play games all the time. They go into the App Store, they download little games that they like, and they play them. And sometimes it's a game like today we're brushing a pony's hair, and we got to make its food, and we do this whole pony thing. And look, we can buy new ponies, and then Daddy has to break out his wallet and spend money on these stupid ponies. But other times they're playing things like Wonder Zoo, and they're building zoos and driving around, and they can't read yet, but they understand what everything means. They're, capturing animals in the wild, and I come home from work and they're like, Daddy, look, I caught a zebra today, and I put him in my zoo, and it's time to feed him because the little plant is over top of him. And it's just this really crazy thing, but it's really awesome.
Well, ain't that something? Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting.
Well, and the other thing that comes with it too that I think is pretty cool is that because of the time period that we live in, when my kids want to watch something on TV, I can put on a video on YouTube of somebody playing. The big one right now is Hank Plays Pikmin 3. I don't know if you guys know who Hank Green is from the Vlog Brothers. Hank Green and John Green, very, very popular on YouTube. They do a lot of really great stuff. John Green does Mental Floss. Hank Green does SciShow and a lot of really, really awesome stuff. But they do these Let's Plays, Hank does, of him playing Pikmin 3. And my kids will watch Hank Plays Pikmin 3 for however many videos they are. And I think we're up to 27, 28 videos as of right now. And they will watch these, in 10-minute clips. I just play the playlist, and they love it. They love it. We'll play Lego Batman clips on YouTube, and they'll watch it. Or they'll sit down with me, and they'll ask to play a game with me. And the one that we just finished was Lego Marvel, and I handed them a controller for a PS3 and didn't turn it on because we're playing it on PS4. But they don't know. They think they're playing, and it's awesome. They're like, Daddy, we're playing this game together. Yes, we totally are. And they're super excited to be playing the game, and watching Lego Deadpool run around, and they get really excited about what their little, if you play the Lego games and you hold down the attack button, their little symbol comes up when you aim on certain things you can break, and they get really excited, like, ooh, what's Deadpool's little icon look like, or what's Moon Knight's little icon look like? Let me see it, and they get so excited about it. It's really, really cool.
That is cool that they get that type of experience with games. My parents, being older, don't really have a hand in any video games. So when we used to go to restaurants and they used to have tiny little arcades in them that actually existed at one point. I don't think any exist anymore. But for a while, my dad could get away with not putting any quarters in, and just me thinking the demo mode was the real thing. And then I got wise to it, and I needed quarters. But yeah, that is cool that you can play along with them. You can see them get enjoyment out of all this while you're playing the game and everything.
It really is. It's awesome, and I have my PS2 that still works, is in their bedroom. So we'll play, Katamari in there.
Yeah.
And they
Nice.
love it. They think it's so cool. They're like, and they're really paying attention to the things that get picked up in the Katamari as we're going around. And when you pick up a cat, they think it's the funniest thing in the world. It's just awesome. It's really cool.
Well, I've got a question for you. You said that they really love Angry Birds. Have they played Boom Blocks at all?
No,
That
we have
game.
not. We have not played Boom Blocks,
Interesting.
but we probably should.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Wii game, and it's Angry Birds before Angry Birds, except it's in 3D and it's produced by Steven Spielberg.
I was gonna say, I thought that was the Spielberg one. It sounded familiar, and I guess that's why. Is it good?
Yeah, I mean, it's you
Fantastic.
fling thing. It's knocking over blocks. It's Angry Birds before Angry Birds, and it's so much better than that. It's really freaking good. It's such a shame that game didn't catch on the way it should have. But no, it's I can't recommend that game enough, especially if they like Angry Birds and they get to do the the motion with the controller. They press a button on the controller and swing it, and that makes the ball get thrown at the blocks, and it's make sure they're wearing the wrist straps. But yeah, no, you can hunt down that game for fairly inexpensive. And if you have a Wii or a Wii U, you need to make that happen because that's good stuff.
Well, see, we had a Wii, and we got it for my wife's birthday, and we took it home, and we played the hell out of Wii Sports, and we played baseball, and we bowled, and we did all these great, fun, awesome games, and then we never touched it again. When we played it for like one or two nights, and then we're just like, yeah, I'm over it. I'm done with the Wii thing. And we had it for another few years. Like, we bought, what is it, Twilight Princess is the Wii Zelda?
Yeah, well, the first one, yeah.
Yeah, and played it for, I don't know, 10 minutes, and I felt like an idiot, waggling my arm around trying to swing a sword or whatever, and I just couldn't get into the Wii, and I don't know what that says about me, but I just couldn't get into it. I wasn't the system for me, and I wanted to love it. I really, really did. I was really excited about it, but
there are so many good games on that platform, and especially not even specific motion controlled ones. I mean, top of my head, I mean, Punch-Out. It breaks my heart to think that you didn't play the new Punch-Out because it is so good. It's so good.
I would love to. I really thought I was going to love the system. I was like, this is so cool. I'm into it. I'm excited. I think the thing that we played the most, probably, we did get a couple weeks out of Mario Kart on the Wii.
Oh, Mario Kart. My wife and I still play that, and we're hotly anticipating Mario Kart 8 like you wouldn't believe. That game looks incredible.
It really does. It really does. But the only thing I have right now is the PS4. So, budgets and all that good stuff.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, there is a Mario Kart 8 bundle coming out for the Wii U, and the Wii U is fully backwards compatible. So if you ever do wind up with one of those in your hands, I will give you a laundry list of fantastic games that you can get for dirt cheap, and a lot of them aren't motion controlled. No waggle necessary.
That's good. I can't do the waggle. And if Nintendo keeps going the way they're going, as much as it breaks my heart to say, if they keep losing all this money, Wii U's are going to be pretty dirt cheap soon as well.
I use mine as a coaster.
I used mine almost every single day. NES that will really first go back to say thank you to Marco for writing in, and I feel like I hope we gave you some insight on what we think of the answer to your question is, and in the interest of just talking about what I've been doing lately is if you guys, do you know about NES Remix, either of you?
Have you been playing it? Have you been playing the NES Remix?
Just about nonstop, and
okay, why don't you go ahead and explain what it is for the people who don't know what it is?
All
yeah,
right.
Can we can we take a break here for a second? I just have to run to the bathroom, which is totally unprofessional. But I've been drinking, so
Sure, let's take a quick break. I could use a drink of water.
Okay.
all right, give me a sec.
Good times.
I'm gonna save that to the computer. And all right, yeah, way to go, Dan. Way to go for going to the bathroom during the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like I've been on a juicy juice bender. You know, I'm sure you've been there, Chris.
Oh, I've been there.
Where it's like I got a whole jug of juicy juice in me. My back teeth are floating. Shit's fucking coming off the rails in a big bad way.
Oh, good time.
Well, you know what? We're docking your pay for whatever we pay you right now.
You really fucking should. I deserve it.
Yeah, it's happening.
I am not a model employee.
All right, so back to what we were yammering on about. Chris, you were about to explain to us what the NES Remix is, and I believe that's on the Wii U, correct?
Yes, NES Remix is on Wii U, and I mean, I gotta say, I don't understand I personally don't understand the negativity towards the Wii U, because I've had so much fun with mine since I got it. Between DuckTales Remastered, New Super Mario U, 3D World, even stuff like Wii Party is just, it's really fun in a group setting. It's unbelievable. And Nintendo Land is totally underappreciated. But one of the things that's come out for that recently is NES Remix and its sequel, NES Remix 2, which they seem to be games directed squarely at people like me, which in turn means that it's directed pretty squarely at people like you guys. It's almost like Nintendo saw Super Mario Crossover and decided to do their own thing with it. And it's just outstanding. So it's kind of like WarioWare, where they break down all these. The first one is all these like the black box NES games, like Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda, Clue Land, Ice Climber, Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, DK Jr., that kind of stuff. And they break them down into these little WarioWare style challenges, where it'll be like you'll play golf and it'll just say hit the power bar in the white meter, or make it onto the green in one shot, and they just go by rapid fire. And that stuff's incredibly cool on its own. But then you get to the remix stages where they just completely screw with you. Like, you'll be playing Super Mario Brothers and you'll fall down into level 1, 2, but you'll be Luigi and the whole thing is backwards. So instead of moving to the right, you're moving to the left, and it'll say get to the flagpole. And your brain's just screwed up because you're like, this is muscle memory is wrong. Everything is reversed. And what hit me, they got me on that one, because the first time I played through it, the thing says get to the goal poles, go. So I just go up on the top, make it to the left, and I jump into the warp zone, and it said fail, and I was like, because I didn't go to the flagpole. I finished the level, but I didn't go to the flagpole, and that just got me. And they do other weird things, like an NES Remix 2, where they did games like Metroid and Kid Icarus and Wario's Woods, and then they'll do the remix stages there, where you'll have like Samus, and you'll be in a Super Mario Brothers level, and they'll say collect 20 coins, but you're playing as Samus, so you're like blowing up bricks and stuff with Samus's gun. these games are so incredibly fun, and they've got this Miiverse connectivity with these kind of like online leaderboards, more or less, and so you can compare times, and they rank you on each of the stages, how fast you do them. And I got 3 stars on everything in the original NES remix. And at a certain point, I realized that 3 stars was not as good as you could do. You can actually get shiny 3 stars, little rainbow 3 stars. And I decided that that wasn't worth my time. And then I got NES Remix 2, and I rainbow starred the whole game, and now I'm back in NES Remix 1 trying to rainbow star the whole thing. The thing with NES Remix 2 is that the games are all pretty darn good. Like, there's a lot of hate out there for Wario's Woods, which I don't get, because if you know how to play that game, it's freaking great. And I was able to shiny star that whole game, and now I'm going back and doing it on the first one, and I got through the hardest parts, which is playing Ice Climber and Golf, because those games are irreparably terrible.
They're bad.
There is no excusing Ice Climber. It is a game about jumping where you can't jump. It's garbage,
and they keep selling it for $5.
I know.
Every system.
I never buy it. I never buy it.
You?
The only time I paid money for it was, and I'm pretty sure Ice Climber was one of them. I can't remember. Actually, no, it's not, because I don't have it on the Wii U. It was Balloon Fight. That was one. When they did their 30-cent promotion. It's like, yeah, I'll buy Balloon Fight for 30 cents, because that's about what that game's worth to me. But
sure.
Yeah, Ice Climber, I would have paid 30 cents and not a penny more for that thing. I love the concept. I like the characters. I like the world with the weird polar bear and the Speedo and the sunglasses, and I like everything about it except playing it. Everything except playing it. I mean, let's think about it. Here's Ice Climber. You're a little dude, and you have to like break your way through the ceilings of levels and make your way to the top, collect a bunch of fruit, grab a pterodactyl, and fly away. What is not to love about that concept? That's brilliant. Why haven't we made a new version of this that's actually playable? But yes, NES Remix. If you're a retro gamer, first off, you should really have a Wii U if you're a retro gamer, because it's got a lot. You've got access to all the Wii's Virtual Console, which the Wii's Virtual Console, if you're not going to emulate stuff, if you want legit means of getting a lot of rare and strange things, Castlevania Dracula X is available for $8 on there. And that's not an easily emulated game. That's a PC Engine CD game, and that is perfectly, flawlessly emulated on the Wii Virtual Console.
And not only the emulation, but if you were trying to get that legit, that
hundreds of dollars.
Very expensive game.
Yeah, it is.
A very awesome game, but very, very expensive.
Yeah, and I'll say this a million times over, and it was one of the things that Nintendo really misstepped on when marketing the Wii, was that at a certain point, Wii games became like new Nintendo games. There was a new Punch-Out on Wii that's fantastic. There is a new Excite Bike on Wii. It's a WiiWare game. It's a download title. It's dirt cheap. It's a modern version of the original Excite Bike. Nothing against Excite Bike 64, which was totally cool, but it was turned into a real motocross type of game. This is Excite Bike with newer graphics, and it's great. And new Super Mario Brothers. There's just, this list goes on and on. A Boy and His Blob. Lots of games with a retro sensibility make their way to the Wii. The Bit Trip series. Oh my god, the Bit Trip series. All available for fairly inexpensive, and especially Runner 2 on Wii U. All just really top-notch stuff. If you like retro-style games, these two systems, and the Wii U being backwards compatible, is kind of a haven for that kind of stuff.
I like it.
Now, if only they could market it properly.
If only. Well, maybe they'll get their act together sooner or later, but that's a story for another time, because that could be a fucking entire episode about how bad they fucked up lately.
It could.
They really, really have.
They really have. It breaks my heart, and they're trying interesting things, and there's a fun fact out there that they're kind of hemorrhaging money on the Wii U right now, like all these big losses. But the company is so solvent that they could keep up this level of loss for 25 years before they had to get worried. That's how much money these people have in the bank. That's why they're not completely shaking in their boots about the Wii U right now, because this is well, it's not as bad as the Virtual Boy as far as a failure is concerned, because they've already sold more of these than they did Virtual Boy. But they can afford to take those kinds of risks. And what bothers me about what they're doing now is that they're not taking as many risks with the software. And I'm hopeful that that's where this is going to turn, because they're already too far deep into this system. They're not going to abandon this system because that's just not the way they roll. I mean, look at the GameCube. The GameCube never really caught up in any of, like, behind the PlayStation 2. It was just a far cry beyond. And then especially in America, it was behind the Xbox as well. It was distant third. So they just started releasing all kinds of wacky stuff. And I adore the GameCube's library. It's just filled with all these weird, wacky ideas. And you started to see some of that stuff with Wii. You even started seeing some of it from third parties in games like Boom Blocks or No More Heroes, Mad World. I mean, just these kind of bizarre concepts that wouldn't have existed if the system weren't full of the limitations that it was in. I mean, Konami did this great Rebirth series on WiiWare, which is new old school games. It kind of like Capcom did Mega Man 9 and 10 that were new 8-bit games. Well, Konami did a handful of new 16-bit games, including a new exclusive 2D Castlevania game called Castlevania: The Adventure Rebirth, and I know they did a Gradius Rebirth, and I'm forgetting another one that was really cool. Contra Rebirth, another excellent one. It was a new hard as nails 2D Contra on the Wii that nobody knew about because nobody knew about WiiWare, because Nintendo wouldn't really care about that stuff for some reason. But that stuff's freaking awesome, and there's so much good, solid, classic style gaming to be had on these platforms. And when I worked in GameStops, I downloaded on the Store Interactive with my own money Super Mario Brothers and Bit Trip Runner, and I sold more Wii systems to my customers than most other stores in my district, because people come in and they see those things. I swear to God, I got a crowd around Bit Trip Runner more often than anything that ever showed up on the PlayStation 3 Interactive, because it was just one of those really simple, everybody understood it games, and everyone trying to get through the levels because it was hard, but it wasn't too hard, and I digress. There's so much that they could be doing.
I'm with you on Bit Trip Runner. That's another game that my kids are real big fans of, because I got it as part of the PlayStation Plus service. They gave out Bit Trip Runner 2 as one of the free downloadables. And you're right. It's incredible. It's such an awesome game. The music is just stellar. You're right. It's simple. It's intuitive enough to where you can pick this game up and you know what you have to do. And what I love about it is that it's not cheap. When I die, it's because I screwed up, not because the game screwed me up. The game is laid out perfectly. The maps or the levels are very, very well done. You can get perfect at that game, and it's just an awesome experience. As I get older, I have a problem playing games where everything goes to the left or right fast, because then I look away and everything's all going all blurry, because I'm in my 30s now, and I guess that's just what happens. It's just I have shitty eyes now, so I just have to deal with that, which is great. But it's just so much fun. So good.
You have to play the other Bit Trip series. I mean, Runner was the highlight of the first Bit Trip series, without a doubt, but they were so interesting because they took these really basic concepts and put a really weird spin on them. Like the first and last of the first Bit Trip series were iterations, basically musical iterations of Pong. And really, Bit Trip Flux, is that the last one? I always get screwed up with Flux and Fate. Yeah, it's Flux. Is one of the most jaw-droppingly beautiful games I've ever played. And it's almost all Atari level graphics, but with kind of modern effects added to them. And you know the little Commander Video character, you don't really see him much in the game outside of the weird, extremely weird cinematics in between stages. But
Is
you're
Super
just
Meat Boy in this one as well? Because that was strange. He's like other like. Okay, I guess.
yes, Super Meat Boy it does show up in one of the. I think he shows up in the original Runner actually, like as a background character.
Awesome.
And I think he's also in Bit Trip Fate, which was a play on 2D shooters. But Bit Trip Flux in particular, and also Bit Trip Beat, they're both. So you're just a little rectangle, and you move up and down on the side, and little blocks come from one end of the screen, and then you have to bat them back, just like you're playing Pong against an endless number of dots. But the better you do, similar to Bit Trip Runner, the better you do, the more intense the music gets.
Mm-hmm.
And Bit Trip Flux just watch a YouTube video of somebody doing a really good job playing Bit Trip Flux, and it's gorgeous. The music is amazing. It's just really, really beautiful. And the folks at Gaijin Games that made this series just really hit it out of the park. I mean, some of the ones are definitely stronger than others. Like Runner is fantastic. Beat and Flux are really fantastic. Fate was an interesting idea, where you're Commander Video in that one, and you move on a predetermined path. Like there's a line in the stage, so the screen's always auto-scrolling, like a 2D shooter like Gradius or R-Type, except you're on a predetermined path, so you don't have free roaming movement throughout the entire stage. You have to move along this predetermined line. So there's a really interesting element of strategy to it. I don't know that it works as well as it should, but it is an interesting concept. And then you have Bit Trip Core, which is kind of like playing Bit Trip Beat, but playing 4 of it at the same time. It really hurts my brain, but it's a cool concept. And in Runner 2, if you get to the last world, you can see people playing that Bit Trip Core in the background. It's one of the floating things in the background is an actual game of Bit Trip Core being played, which is an excellent nod to anybody who played the previous series. But there's games like that, a laundry list of games like that on the Wii that are available. If you're willing to look for them, there is so much incredibly good gaming to be had that can only be had on those platforms, and really worth your time.
Sounds awesome. So on to the next thing, Dan. What have you been up to lately?
Oh, not terribly much. Trying to play and have my kids understand that as we play through things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time, that Daddy is trying really hard to get their favorite character on screen, except when their favorite character is Raphael. And his range is just garbage. Oh, it's so bad.
At least you're not playing Turtles 1 on NES.
Oh, no, I refuse to even show them that. It's one of the few games that I still have left on my NES. I have it because it's
ubiquitous. Everyone has it.
You have to have it.
The government issue, I think.
It really is. It's like everybody's got a copy of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. We have so many copies of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt that those are coasters at our house. You come over, you give you a drink, and I give you a Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt to put the thing down on.
I still actually do that, Dan. I used a handful of Mario Duck Hunts to prop up the pack and play when I brought my kid home because it wasn't level. I currently still have, because I actually did an inventory on this, I believe. How many copies of Mario Duck Hunt do I have left? Quick story while I'm looking this up. I used to work at Funko Land way back in the day, and Mario Duck Hunts, while they're worth a couple of dollars a piece now, back in the day they used to be about 10 cents a piece. So one year, a bunch of my friends decided to be real funny, and they came into my Funko Land when I wasn't working, and as a birthday present to me, they bought every copy of Mario Duck Hunt in the store. Now, I've given a lot of them away. I've used them for an awful lot of things over the years. I am currently sitting on 37. I have 37 copies of Mario Duck Hunt.
That's great.
And I have another 18 copies of Mario Duck Hunt World Class Track Meet.
That's awesome. I've got 8. That's where I'm sitting. I stopped at 8 so that I would have coasters. But like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it is one of those ubiquitous titles. You've got to have a memory of the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, trying to swim through that goddamn level that is absolutely impossible. No one can do it perfectly because the game is broken.
It is evil. It's early Konami, man. That game was evil.
And wasn't that even part of their Ultra Games line when Konami was just cranking out so many, because Nintendo had that rule that you can only publish so many games per system or per year.
So they
created Ultra
so that they could crank out more games. Yes, Ninja Turtles was on the Ultra Games label.
I believe Snake's Revenge was on the Ultra Games label.
Yeah,
I believe. Which
Silent Service, I think.
Silent Service was Ultra Games. Just as a little teaser for the upcoming official podcast, we may be revisiting Mr. Solid Snake from my end, at least anyway, because I have some things to say there. But yeah, I mean, just so we're playing through, and my kids, like I said, they're really into gaming, and they really want to play. The cool thing is, and this is something that I'd actually like to explore further down the line, but because we have everything, there is no limit to the access we have as far as old games, old movies, old whatever. Content is now king, and the quality of that content determines what we kind of pass off in the future as things that are going to be viable and have staying power. Like I said, my kids have Kindle Fires, and I downloaded Netflix onto their tablets, and I do not restrict their access on Netflix. Like they know to go under the kids' profile, because thank God that Netflix finally set that up to where you can have separate profiles. But they click on the little panda bear icon, and that takes them to their Netflix that has their shows that they watch. And my kids happen to only really be into cartoons at this point. So even before that, when they were scrolling through, my queue and whatever, they wouldn't pick whatever stupid movie I had on there.
Oh, so you don't let them watch House of Cards or anything like that?
No, and they totally should, because that show is amazing, and that is the best show. Well, second best. Sherlock is the best show on television. House of Cards is really like right up there as number 2. It is so good, so good. But they're not even interested in it. They don't like live action stuff at this point. So I came home from work one day, and I hear the Mario dance from the end of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And I go into my kid's bedroom, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? I didn't even know that the Super Mario Brothers Super Show was on Netflix. But my kids were scrolling through, and they saw it, and they decided to click on it, and they love it. They absolutely love that show.
Sadly, it's only the first season available on there.
Right, so like, because we've watched through all of them multiple times now, but they absolutely are in love with that show, and by all rights, they shouldn't be. Considering if you compare it to like Turbo Fast, right? That's on Netflix now. Their Netflix exclusive Turbo cartoon. The animation in that show is beautiful. The sound is fantastic. The story's kind of wishy-washy, not all that great, but it looks a million times better than Super Mario Brothers Super Show. But that doesn't matter. The content is the thing that they're interested in. So when we go back and play these old retro games, they're excited to play games with characters they know, but if the game is good, they want to watch it. And it's just this really kind of crazy thing. So we've been going through and playing a lot of older games. We've been playing a lot of Turtles in Time. We've been playing a lot of Donkey Kong Country, because those are just fantastic. They love those.
Yeah, they are.
We tried to play, because, I have girls, so I try to pick out things that I think are cute that they might like. So we tried to play Arrow the Acrobat, which is an unplayable mess, and I'd forgotten about that. You know, we played through Castle of Illusion, the remake of that, and they just blew their little minds. And then we went back and played the old one, and they loved it just as much. You know, they loved watching it. Now, we didn't play through the whole thing because it's really hard to go back to the original Castle of Illusion after playing the new one.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't look at it and go, oh, this is stupid, turn this off. They were really excited to watch it. You know, it was just kind of a cool thing.
DuckTales? Did you give them any DuckTales?
We played through all of DuckTales Remastered, which was absolutely amazing. Loved every second of it. And I am man enough to admit that I played that game on easy because it's still incredibly hard, and I don't even care. I've never been able to beat that game on anything other than easy, and I'm totally cool with that. I'm secure enough in my manhood to admit that to anyone who's listening.
You sissy. Who said that?
I wish it should have been me, because
It really should.
I mean, I can beat DuckTales.
I'm sure you can.
You're also a god, okay?
I can be Rygar too.
I know. We have a very touching Rygar moment, Chris, and we're not gonna ruin it and put it out here on display. You monster.
Right, that stays between us.
It does. It
The
does.
original Rygar, not the PS2 or the god awful Wii version.
No, the PS2 one was a pretty dope game, though. Not for nothing.
It was pretty cool. The Wii version was almost the exact same game, except uglier, and released years later for no good reason.
Yeah, money.
What money? They couldn't have possibly made them any money to make that
they
game.
they thought it was gonna make them money, okay, Chris? They had
People
a
were
thought.
drunk. They were drunk with power. They should have all been fired.
It's the
They
cocaine.
They really just had to look at it as, you know, somebody somewhere sitting around going, you know, this God of War thing, making a ton of money for PlayStation, right? Sony's killing it on this Kratos guy. What do we got? And somebody just went, oh, we could port Rygar. It was, so you swing a shield and you wear sandals. That's kind of the same, right?
Yeah, but did you see they redesigned the main character? So he
Oh,
didn't
did they
look
see-
like, oh my god, and it's just the main character. Everything else looks exactly the same, except if not worse. And they turned the main character into a white-haired anime dude with tattoos.
Oh, why
It's
not?
so horrible.
But Chris, people love white-haired anime dudes with tattoos.
With tattoos.
That's the going
Absolutely,
thing
yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah, check out Jago and the new Killer Instinct, you know? Tribal tattoos make everything better.
Does Jago
Barf.
seriously have tribal tattoos in the new Killer Instinct?
Yes, he does.
I am not sad that I didn't buy an Xbox One.
Ditto.
I'm not sad about that. I think we also need to have a podcast in the future about what the fuck, and I apologize, happened to Rare. Because
We-
God,
Stamper
yeah,
Brothers
well,
left,
let's-
and all of the other talent left.
Let's,
The end.
let's put a lid on that for now, because we could go on about that for a while. We could go on about all the wonderful games they made.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
and we totally should.
We're already deep into this podcast.
yeah, sorry, an hour and 4 minutes. I said the F word. I apologize.
Oh, I don't care about the F word. I'll drop that one all day long. But no, Rare. I'm putting caution tape around that one for right now till we can
Okay.
unveil it at a later time.
Because man. Anyway, but other than that, sorry, short story long. That's what we've been doing. We've been playing, you know, trying to get, especially because when you guys said, you know, we want to do this podcast and whatever, it's like I need to brush up on my retro gaming. I need to get back kind of into it because I'm not a collector anymore. I was a collector at one point when I worked at video game stores. I would try to have, you know, I had a decent amount of stuff. I was trying to build up a collection of things, and then, you know, I bought a Dreamcast that I never played, but I bought it because I was like, oh, it's the Dreamcast Sports Edition. I should have that, and like bought a bunch of games and thought that I would play it, but just never got around to it, even though I had like Power Stone 1 and 2, which are just incredible games.
Nice.
But, you know, I don't have a lot of stuff left. I've got my original Nintendo. I've got some Super Nintendo stuff. And then that's really about it. So, you know, trying to get back into the swing of this retro gaming thing, just going back and being able to play some of this stuff with my kids, and then being able to kind of hang out once they go to bed and play some of this stuff for me, some stuff that I missed or don't really remember all that well is pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm excited for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Dean.
You're welcome.
You're a good man.
I try.
You're a good man.
Thank you. So I guess that leaves me for what I've been doing. So I've been murdering people a whole lot, just by the busloads. No, actually, I've been.
You might not want to admit that to everyone.
Yeah, I should probably edit this part out. Oh well.
I'm not a lawyer, but
just
you might.
Yeah,
you might be in trouble.
I might be. So actually, I've been doing stuff very, very boring to most people. I've been playing Mario Golf, the new one, the World Tour.
3DS?
Yeah.
How is it?
It's good. So you know how in the Game Boy Advance one they had like all the RPG stuff?
I do. Yeah.
That's all gone.
Well, that's a damn shame.
They replaced it with like where you can dress up a guy and it gives him different stats and stuff. That's about it. So
Thanks.
yeah, you can compete for all the different cups and whatnot, and that's still fun and everything. And I've heard people beating the entire game in like 4 or 5 hours, and then I'm thinking to myself, you didn't play the game then, at all, because the clubhouse mode is ideally where you get most of the fun stuff, like from doing all the different tournaments and everything, and getting your character up there with like his shot power and like his control over the ball and whatnot, and just overall getting better at the game. There's also like an easy mode to shoot the ball, and then there's the manual mode, which I believe was the mode in place for like Mario 64 and everything else. So yeah, it has a bunch of options in there. Another cool thing is that it has a online tournament mode, which is really cool. I've had a lot of fun with that, just messing around. So, like, overall, I like the game a lot. A lot of people have been giving it some sort of, like, mediocre ratings. I think it's great. I enjoy it. Like, I could go pick it up. You can beat a course, like an 18-hole course, within, I'd say, like, 15, 20 minutes. So, it's nice that it doesn't take long to complete all those holes, So, yeah, I've been having tons of fun. Been playing with my character. If anyone has that, come find me, fools. I'll kick your asses. All day.
See, I really need to get a 3DS. Eventually. I mean, I have a PSP and I love it. I have the Vita, and I really do. It's a really, really awesome system. If for nothing other than the remote play on the PS4, it's really awesome. But I've been wanting to pick up the Hot Shots Golf for that, which I assume is sort of similar to the Mario Golf stuff.
No, they're nothing alike. Not one bit.
No, it's never happened. Hot Shots is not better.
They're just made by the same company. That's all.
Yeah, they're not. Don't break down that wall, sir. Let us have our illusions. But I mean, the Hot Shots Golf was kind of that same thing of, like you said, you can jump into a course and finish 18 holes in 10, 15 minutes. And Hot Shots Golf, you do the same thing. You jump on and you're done. And for some reason, golf games are incredibly fun.
Yeah, like I like that. I don't need to have realistic courses or anything. I don't need to have all ridiculous control over the ball. I just want to hit the ball with funny characters, and they do goofy things when you get a bogey or a birdie or par. I like that. That's fun. I don't give me any serious shit going on. I just want the core game there, and that's about it. I don't need NBA for golf. What is that? The PGA? Is that what it's called?
PGA, yeah.
PGA, yeah.
Yeah, I don't need super official Tiger Woods PGA Tour fucking 15x5. I don't need that. Sorry. That's not in my agenda. I just want Mario hitting a ball and he goes Yahoo when he hits it nice. That's all I need. That's my life right there in a nutshell. Mario Golf.
Well, and that's what I figure if I actually golfed, cuz I don't golf cuz I don't like being outside that early in the morning. That doesn't make any goddamn sense to me at all. The drinking at the 18th hole, awesome. I'm in, great plan. Can we just skip to that? Is really my opinion on golf. But I feel if I did golf, I would yell woohoo like Mario or do some stupid little dance if I happen to somehow get a birdie, which I don't really see being in my future. I feel I would celebrate the same way. Maybe that's why we like these games so much.
That's fantastic. I think they're great games. I like the Mario sports. Well, I can't say I like all of them because Mario basketball could suck a big fat dick. But tennis was good. Golf was good on the Nintendo 64. I remember playing the hell out of those. And through the years, Toadstool Tower on the GameCube was good. Yeah, I really don't hate too many Mario games that like kind of go out in different aspects from their comfort zone. I think the only one that I really hate that's still going on is the fucking Olympics. Just stop it.
Those
They're
are
not good.
It's a damn shame because they could be awesome. I'm just being a.
They should be awesome.
Just being a Nintendo, the whole Nintendo Sega debacle, the debate, the war, the 16-bit wars from back in the day, being so entrenched in that, and then seeing that first cinematic for the first Mario and Sonic the Olympic games where they're competing against one another. It's got really good music. It's one of those really high-quality Sega CG sequences. Was just mind-blowingly amazing. I still watch that cinematic from time to time. It's just so freaking cool.
And then it's been such a letdown since.
Yeah, it has. Ever since that opening cinematic, it's all been downhill from there.
Ever since the trailer, it's been terrible.
Once you hit start, it's all over.
It's just, God damn it, Sega. We want you to be good.
5 minutes in, the game's terrible.
Oh, God. I wanted the Iron Man game to be good. I was really excited about it because Sega's made good games before. No, that game's a steaming pile of shit. That game's awful. I didn't even play any of the other Marvel games that they made. It's the best Marvel gaming that I can get right now is Lego Marvel Superheroes, which is awesome, but not what I want. But no, Sega, bunch of pricks.
Getting back to the 3DS.
Sorry.
No, that's more than fine. Well deserved. Getting back to the 3DS, have you been participating in Mega May at all, Dean? Do you know what I'm talking about?
What is this thing you speak of?
Capcom is releasing a bunch of...
I want to be a part of Mega May.
They're releasing a bunch of never previously released outside of their original releases ports of Mega Man games, including all of the original Game Boy Mega Mans. So far they've released Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4 came out this week, as well as the first Mega Man Extreme for Game Boy Color. And I know everyone wants there to be a new Mega Man game desperately, and Capcom, why have you forsaken Mega Man? Well, here's a bunch of Mega Man games that most people have never played because they're, especially Mega Man 4 and 5, are extraordinarily rare on the Game Boy. And they're really interesting games. They're new Mega Man games, new levels. They're slower because they were on the original Game Boy, so they have a very kind of distinct flavor to them, but they're really solid and very good music. Very good music as well.
Cool. I think I'll definitely have to download them. I'm kind of.
They're only a couple bucks a piece too. I think they're $3 a piece, which is about what they should cost because they're Game Boy games. And can I definitely tip the hat to back to what we were saying about Ice Climber being $5 for no goddamn reason. Nintendo sure has gotten their shit together an awful lot in regards to the 3DS and Wii U eShops more recently. Now, there are for every pile of turds that is Ice Climber for $5, you get something like Mega Man for $3, which is great. So
there's just a simple cost ratio.
So that happened.
There's a cost ratio here. If I could buy a game for my e-reader and swipe that shit on a card, it shouldn't be $5. That's kind of how that works.
But why would you want to? Oh, the e-reader, man. There's a topic for another time.
Seriously, no. Those Mega Man games though. Mega Man's in my top 3 franchises of all time.
Did you say French fries?
I think I said French fries.
How's that beer?
I've been drinking. I'm not going to stop. I don't have a problem. It's cool. We'll talk about it off the air. Nice. Second episode in. Let's all have drinking problems. It's one of my top 3 franchises of all time, and I have the first 2 Game Boy games still. Never played 4 and 5 though, because you're right, they're incredibly rare. Even when they were first released, they weren't exactly the most easy to come by games. I've never had a chance to play them, and not having a 3DS really kind of bums me out that I can't get access to these titles.
3DSs, I've been saying this for at least a year now. If you consider yourself a gamer and you don't have a 3DS, you're doing it wrong. No, and really, honestly, no offense to the Vita. I have one as well. I think it's a great piece of hardware, but I don't have a PlayStation 4. So the whole, I get all my off-TV play with the Wii U. And the only game I have for my Vita, like really like Vita game, is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. And I'm pissed that there's no way to play Mega Man Powered Up on it, because Mega Man Powered Up was fantastic, and for some reason, Capcom has never put that on the PlayStation Store, which annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah.
But, it's nice to have a really proper portable version of Symphony of the Night, but outside of that, I don't really have a lot on my PlayStation Vita, and it's kind of disappointing, because it is a really nice piece of tech, and it reminds me a lot of the Wii U, where it's just this huge missed potential, because they don't make a ton of great games for it, and they should.
They should. Gravity Rush, awesome. Uncharted
Guacamelee
is awesome. Playing Guacamelee on that system is awesome. I've only had the Vita since October. I got it as a birthday present for my wife, so I got the Walking Dead bundle, and that Walking Dead game is awesome on that system. But you're right, there is a lot of wasted potential there. There's
3DS, not so much. 3DS, there is a ridiculous library. I have currently, including download titles, 90 games for my 3DS.
That's crazy.
Damn, Chris, that's a lot of downloads.
It's absolutely absurd, and a lot of it's downloads, but even physical copies of games. Zelda: Link Between Worlds, the Kid Icarus Uprising. Oh, Kid Icarus Uprising made me so happy. And then you've got weird download titles. It's probably the best version, the singular best version of VVVVVV on any platform, because it's got the tightest controls. And if you've never played that game, you freaking need to.
The Kid Icarus, the fact that Castlevanias continue to come out on that system, and the Link Between Worlds are reason enough for me to eventually get one. If I didn't have PlayStation Plus, I would have a Vita. But having PlayStation Plus, or I would have a 3DS. Having PlayStation Plus, it was like, well, if I get this system, I've already got like 30 games for it, which is awesome.
Wow, it is a valid point. That's very, very true. On the other hand,
Castlevania, Kid Icarus, and Link Between Worlds. So
yeah. They have a similar situation with, especially since they just did the Mega Man 4. Mega Man 5's coming out for it, and those games fetch a pretty penny. The original Shantae for Game Boy Color is available as a $5 download, as opposed to a $400 cartridge purchase.
I saw so many of those in bins at Toys R Us.
Oh my God, I know.
$3.
And I didn't buy them, and I regret that every freaking day.
Did we even have them when you and I used to work at Toys R Us, Chris?
We did, as a matter of fact. We did.
That's where we had
wow, there's that game. And I heard it's pretty good, but I don't know. I'll pick it up eventually. It's never going to be worth anything. I'll just pick it up someday. And
but I'm a man, and I'm not going to play as a girl genie. Ugh.
The game's pretty damn good, and the original one is readily available on the 3DS eShop, as well as the best version of Mutant Muds. Night Sky is a cool game. Mole Mania, which is a Shigeru Miyamoto joint. That few
Shigeru Miyamoto up in this bitch.
Metroid 2 Return of Samus with save states, so you don't get lost all the time. A portable version of Cave Story, including a full 3D remake of Cave Story.
Yeah,
So
I
much
need,
good
I
stuff on
need to
this
play
system.
Cave Story. I've never played it. I know that I need to.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you know what else we need to do?
And the podcast.
Yeah, we need to end this fucking podcast.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Well, apparently we can sit around talking about retro games indefinitely.
Yeah, so if I didn't do that, I'm pretty sure we would have hit a time paradox and had the world explode.
So thanks for the question, Sharko.
Yes, what we need is more people to ask us questions so that we
this
don't
doesn't happen.
wind up feeling that we need to fill the extra space with something else, because apparently we can do it ad nauseum. So more
Well-
people send us questions, and then we'll just focus our mailbags on answering said questions and move on with our lives.
Instead of
If,
asking each other what we're doing, and then one
Yeah.
moment takes about 15, 20 minutes.
If Kevin Smith has taught me anything, it's that guys from Jersey never know when to shut the fuck up.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's go over some things. If you guys like us a lot, you should definitely subscribe to the podcast. It means a lot to us. Stone Age Gamer, Geek Philosophers, and now Geek Life After Hours are all available on iTunes as of this recording. We got all our show notes going on there. You can check us out on our website, which we do appreciate. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or through the website. Either or, we don't care. As long as you're listening to us, that's all that really matters. We'll massage your ears into submission. It'll feel real great. I swear.
Nice.
Also, take a look at our Facebook where we put up all our news, so you can get all that stuff. Even if we're not doing something on our podcast, we might be doing something on YouTube, and we don't want you guys to miss any of that. We want you guys to catch every little morsel of the action. So you should definitely like us on Facebook. That should definitely be your second necessity. Third necessity, you should probably just follow us on Twitter too while you're at it, because, I mean, who doesn't love to tweet? You can 140 characters of awesomeness just right there. So yeah, do that too. And we'll have some stuff actually coming out on our website, like word printed stuff that you can check out, and that'll be pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think I posted something up there about my love for the Mega Man comic and why there should be a separate Mega Man X comic and not just a backup story.
I believe that is the plan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, that's cool, because when they were talking about it, it was just speculation, but if you're telling me it's a plan, I like plans. But we could save that for another day when we're not an hour and 4 minutes into a podcast. So, with that, I'm Dean DeFalco. With me today was Chris Randazzo and Daniel Bryan, and we'll see you next time on Geek Life After Hours. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Un croissant, s'il vous plaît.